My wife and I have been together for almost 8 years. I'm 24 now, she's 25, and it feels strange to even say that number, because sometimes I still feel like the kid who fell in love with her back in high school. We were supposed to be that couple who beat the odds, who proved everyone wrong when they said we were too young to know what love even was. We became high school sweethearts, then newlyweds, and eventually the proud parents of 3 beautiful daughters. From the outside, maybe it looked like we were living the dream. A young family, a home, stability. But behind closed doors, things were far more complicated than anyone could have guessed. 2 weeks ago, everything began unraveling. She stayed at her mother's house for a night, something that on its own didn't feel entirely unusual. But when she came home the next day, her demeanor had changed. She looked at me with this cold distance I hadn't seen before, as if something in her had switched off. And then the words came out, calm but sharp, like knives wrapped in silk. "I don't want to be with you anymore. You've been pushing me away. You're not helpful around the house." I stood there stunned, my chest tightening as if someone had pulled the air straight from my lungs. I knew instantly this wasn't her voice, not the woman I thought I knew. Something was off. Still, I spent the next 10 days desperately trying to hold on. I begged her to talk to me, to let me try, to go to therapy, to fight for what we had. But every attempt was met with a wall, a cold stare, and her voice repeating that she didn't want me to try. And then came the truth, or at least a glimpse of it. By sheer accident, I discovered the messages on her Apple Watch, conversations with her sister, raw and unfiltered, where she confessed that on the very night she stayed at her mother's house, she had slept with her stepbrother's brother. She laughed about it, gushed about it, even said she wanted to do it again. The words carved into me like fire. And then just last weekend, she stayed at her mom's again, this time disappointed that he hadn't shown up. It wasn't just betrayal. It was premeditated, intentional, and hidden behind layers of manipulation. When I confronted her, she didn't apologize. Instead, she twisted it, trying to gaslight me, to convince me that the marriage had crumbled solely because of my failures. She said I hadn't done enough, hadn't been present enough, hadn't helped enough. And the worst part? She had planned to bury her betrayal forever, to let me carry the blame while she lived a double life. And yet, even knowing all this, even feeling the knife twist deeper, I couldn't bring myself to hate her. I wanted to. God, I wanted to despise her, to let anger take over and erase the love I still felt. But love is cruel. It lingers, even when it's poisoned. The situation only spiraled further. My wife cannot drive. She has never held a job. She has no way to support herself or our daughters without me. She told me directly, without hesitation, that my options were either to keep supporting her even after the divorce, or she would drag me through the courts demanding the maximum child support and alimony Kansas would allow. And she said it with such calm certainty, as if she knew she had all the power. She declared that she intended to stay in the home indefinitely, the house I worked to pay for, the house where I thought we were building a future. And then, as if that wasn't enough, she tried to lure me into bed again. She smirked, whispering that her friend had told her angry sex is the best sex. My stomach turned at the thought. Was this a game to her? A performance? She even suggested an open relationship, as if her betrayal wasn't enough, as if I should simply allow her the freedom to repeat it again and again while I stayed chained to her financially and emotionally. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't work. My mind became a storm of confusion and despair. Every word she said felt like another dagger.
The last 10 days had been a psychological battlefield where she weaponized my own love and loyalty against me, manipulating me until I hated myself. The truth is, I haven't been well mentally for about a year. The financial pressures crushed me, and I know I let it affect the marriage. I'll admit to that. I'll admit that I wasn't the husband I wanted to be. But I had tried. I had begged for therapy, for support, for a partner to lean on. Every time she refused, every time she turned the spotlight back onto my flaws, my shortcomings, my failures. My pain was always minimized, dismissed, or twisted until I questioned if I was the problem all along. Now, I stand in the ruins of what we built. A house filled with silence and tension, 3 daughters who mean everything to me, and a wife who has betrayed, manipulated, and threatened me in ways I could never have imagined. And yet, the cruelest truth is this: a part of me still longs for her. A part of me still sees the girl I loved in high school, the girl I held through late nights, the girl I swore I'd spend forever with. But that girl is gone, and in her place she stands someone I no longer recognize. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know where to begin. All I know is that my daughters are my world, my anchor in this storm, the only pure thing left in this complicated, shattering puzzle. I have to fight for them, protect them, and somehow rebuild myself from the wreckage she left behind. But the nights are long, the thoughts are endless, and the war inside my heart between love, hate, grief, and rage feels like it will never end.